Very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's uLaw webinar. I thank you for joining us for the CPD session of today's webinar, which has been accredited for 1 hour of professionalism CPD credits in the provinces of Ontario, British Columbia, and New Brunswick. I once again kindly request you to mute your phone lines or your videos, and if possible, kindly do use the phone numbers provided to dial in for a better quality of the audio. Now, today's session is going to truly highlight about certain aspects slightly away from our, in terms of what we discuss as a product, our core business around legal accounting practice management. It certainly does tie in a bit of that, but it's also to highlight some of the experiences that you may want to consider as a legal professional as you serve your customers and serve all the partners that you work with as a representation of your firm, whether that's a solo practitioner firm, a small law firm, or a large and growing legal firm. Okay, so what we've done is we've kind of studied other industries, we've read through articles, and we came up with this presentation that highlights about 4 distinct experiences that these companies, these successful companies, follow. And we've tried to take that as an example and try and reflect that within how it may relate to our customers and our customer base and this legal industry. Once again, I confirm that today's webinar is accredited for 1 hour of CPD credits, of professionalism CPD credits in the provinces of Ontario, British Columbia, and New Brunswick. It is being recorded, and the session will be available to you as early as next week on our YouTube channel as well. Okay, so the webinar's title is How Do You Ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX is high, or is a high quotient for your law office. That is the title of the webinar that you may have to use within your portal. Now, like every other uLaw webinar, today's webinar has a specific agenda. We're, of course, going to try and discover what these different experiences mean and how you should consider to place these experiences at various different stages or lifestyles or life stages, if you will, across the life cycle of a customer, and how you can work towards improving and providing an enhanced or an enriched experience across all these different various factors to that customer, the partner, and whoever you serve. Okay. Starting with branding, of course, which we'll talk about, which is really the BX, the experience of branding and how you should, whether it's a growing existing business, if you're a solo practitioner who's just getting started after your education, no matter where you are, it's a great opportunity at any given time to improve and grow on the existing branding as well. And then finally, after we've kind of covered what these experiences are, we'll kind of compare it with an example that we've taken, in this case, of a leading franchise business and how they envision these experiences within their business. And last but not the least, we'll of course, given time, we'll look at how you can automate some of these experiences so that you can ensure that the quality of ensuring that experience is consistent across the company's experiences and touch points that your customers have. Okay, so really want it to be a short yet effective webinar that slightly talks tangential from the very typical legal accounting practice management aspects that we cover in most of our webinars. At any given time, please feel free to use the chat window that you have to ask any questions that you may have during the webinar. With regards to today's webinar, our support staff are available and would be able to answer those questions. So let's get started. So the first experience that we want to highlight and we want you to think about is that of the brand experience. we believe that every business has the opportunity to convey what that company represents, what that service offering represents, what the individual or a group of individuals represent in terms of a service or a product, or for business or even not for profit. They all are represented by a brand experience. So the brand could be a simple logo, could be a tagline, could be consistent combination of colors, could be a certain image, a picture, just a few words. It could be anything that you believe can convey the value of your business and the value that it provides its end customers and consumers and partners. Okay, so whether if you're just getting started, of course, it's a great opportunity for you to truly consider and reflect upon who you are as an individual, as a legal professional, the areas of practice that you believe you will excel in, either based on your education or based on your experience working at a law firm, talking to colleagues, or even as situational as knowing the right Rolodex for the type of business where you think you can be successful. So really reflecting upon the skill sets that you believe you can bring to the table. Also looking deeper into understanding the kind of values that you want to provide. And last but not the least, of course, the competencies, right? So when I talk about competency, I'm talking about, let's take an example of different areas of practice, such as small claims, POA. So you may have a law firm that's positioned in a certain geographical representation that has a lot of these POA, HTA matters, because really based on the position where we are in terms of geography, where it's located. It could be based on the education, so maybe you're educated to be an immigration lawyer or a criminal lawyer, or it could be someone who's just getting started and hence want to reflect upon either a core value, and we've actually had customers of ours who currently do work with us talk about how passionate they are about landlord and tenant board issues, either through that experience prior to being a legal professional, and then truly wanting to stand by that value of wanting to represent, in this case, this customer really wanted to represent the tenant based on their experiences. Okay, so a brand represents kind of who you are in terms of an individual and what you bring to the table, or the firm in terms of what it brings to the table, the values and competencies. And what you have to keep in mind is, how do you convey that to your audience? Of course, you're going to be serving an audience. You're going to have to market this to an audience so that they recognize, they understand that you exist as a business, and then working with you is going to provide them with the end goals and results that they expect out of working with a legal professional, right? Last but not least, we also believe, from what we've studied, brand experiences also is a great opportunity for you to imprint confidence in the service excellence that you and your team and your firm can deliver. Okay. We'll first kind of go through the different definitions so that it's easier for you to appreciate what these experiences should look like. So we've looked at the BX aspect of today's webinar, which is the brand experience. So hopefully you're starting to think about what your brand represents, how are you marketing it, and what is that quick and easy way that you're able to take it to market. Next comes the customer experience. So brand experience is fantastic. Someone can easily understand who you are. It resonates well with them, and they would recognize if they look at your business card or even look at your advertisement on Facebook or LinkedIn, or if someone were to leave your business card with another prospective referral, maybe it's easier for them to appreciate who they're dealing with. Now let's assume that the brand experience is fantastic and it's motivated a prospective client to reach out to you. That's where we believe the customer experience kicks in. So that's really the face of your touch point with that prospective customer or let's say a lead that's working with you now to really explore sharing this opportunity of a legal representation. It could be a purchase of a home. It could be a criminal offense. It could be a simple small claims matter. It could be a highway traffic act. Whatever it may be, that lead has been motivated enough through that brand experience to come either give you a phone call or be able to come in person to your office or reach out to you via email, whatever touch points you provide. Okay? So it starts right from the time of that engagement, and we believe that customer experience continues through the final closing letter. From cradle to grave of having to deal with your legal firm for that customer from the perspective of that customer is what you have to look at. Okay? It is what is perceived by that customer with every touch point that you have to offer. A very warm welcome. It could be a very pleasant phone conversation. It could be an extremely professionally well-written, clear, concise retainer letter, and could be a timely, extendable set of documents. It could be the professional nature of your consultation. It could be even the professional nature of and the timeliness of being able to send out an invoice with the numbers reflecting exactly what was discussed, right? Because it becomes completely unpleasant and unprofessional if you were to sign up a retainer letter with a $150 per hour arrangement, maybe slightly away from the norm. So maybe let's say you do standard have $300 as your per hour rate, but you have agreed to a $150 rate. Again, ensuring, as subtle, as little as this may seem, ensuring that that retainer letter now reflects this $150 personalized retainer agreement is very important, because the last thing you want them to see is a $300 bill. Right? So that's really what we consider as a customer experience. Then comes the user experience. So now it's great that this customer has been motivated enough through your brand to reach out to you. And of course, the old school way of reaching out to a legal firm is, of course, visiting that legal firm's physical address, or it could be an arrangement to meet a legal professional, again, at another physical location, like a cafe or another rental or another office or a Starbucks, whatever it may be, a specific space. But with the advent of technology and in today's context of the day and age that we're in, businesses today offer their end customer various different avenues or touch points by which they can communicate, collaborate, and correspond with them. And legal business is no different from that. So something for you to really keep in mind and consider as you grow your business or you start your business or anywhere in between is the amount of multi-touch point experiences that you as a legal firm can offer your prospective clients. And that's what we call as a user experience. So a great example is the type of documents that you send out. Is it printed? Is it electronic? How can a client intake happen with your firm? Does it always have to be where the person is in person? The client is in person? What if it's in a downtown location, which is totally inconvenient for parking? Do you provide the opportunity for a website or a self-serve client intake form where a customer can provide enough information to allow you to do a conflict screening and decide upon that file or not? Do you allow for phone conversations to happen? Is this a physical landline, or are you a mobile legal professional who uses voice over IP so that even if someone were to leave you a voice message, you are, of course, able to consume that message on your mobile phone wherever you are and readily get back to them with an answer or as a follow-up? So what is that multi-touch point experience that you're able to offer your customer? Very important in today's day and age, as we see youngsters get into the business. We see technology making it easier day by day for us as common man consumers to appreciate these multiple touch points on a day-to-day basis. We're all used to the internet today. We're all getting familiar with online banking, where we don't have to necessarily walk into a physical bank, right, to do financial transactions with that bank. We have mobile banking. We have online banking. We have the ability to take a photograph of a check and deposit that into our bank account, right? So there's self-help on your websites. You don't have to necessarily always call a 1-800 phone number. So those are the different multi-touch points that businesses are providing us as consumers, and we would, and other consumers would expect out of a legal business, and that's something for you to consider. A very good example that we believe is a game changer for the legal industry is the ability to provide self-serve payment options for your customers, so that you don't have to all the time follow up for that payment. You could make it easier for your customers to pay you at their own leisure. And we've seen that doing that and enabling that customer to be self-sufficient has actually benefited legal businesses, because they are able to then make that payment faster. Okay, so that's really what we talk about user experience. And then we define this as a product experience, or this could be the overall firm experience if you were within a legal business context. This is really the overarching comprehensive experience of a customer, right from that brand to that touch point, through various different ways that are convenient to the end goal being accomplished through the professional nature of the journey of having worked through your business, converting that prospective customer to an existing customer and to a brand ambassador or referral customer who's both going to come back to you for other areas of practice that you offer as a firm, or if not, if you only do a certain law area of practice, then ensuring through this product experience and that journey that that customer now converts into an ambassador who would refer you or recommend your legal service to another friend or colleague. Okay, so this is really the amalgamated experience across that journey of working with your legal firm. Okay, so really understanding if all those different experiences across their journey was worth the time and money, and also for you to consider as a legal businesses the variety of areas of practice that you can offer the same level of brand, customer, and user experience. Okay. Now, hopefully, that's helped define or set the stage in terms of the experiences that you may want to consider, start thinking about. If you're already doing that, then fantastic, kudos to you. Now let's talk a little bit deeper dive into these individual experiences, maybe look at some pragmatic examples as a legal professional as to what you can do to accomplish a higher level of quality across these experiences. Of course, we believe, starting with the brand experiences, we know that a brand cognitively plays a huge role in motivating the client. It's an amazing tool in today's day and age to help market the brand, market the business across various different ways, electronic, digital, and the traditional non-digital methods as well. Okay? And the brand, of course, would automatically bring back the memory of the experiences. So it's just a quick cue card for someone, even after having worked with you, let's say, several years back, and if, let's say, you do continue the same brand images and logos and etc., they would right away remember the pleasant experience or the bad experience of that brand. So very important for you to define what that looks like. It's a simple, fast way for you to represent your firm visually. And as we consider today's businesses, this is something that we want to share with you as more and more legal businesses start to grow within the country. We're starting to see an intake, or I would say an increase rather, in the amount of social branding that's happening for legal businesses, whether that's social media marketing or Facebook business pages being part of other larger groups within a social media network, whether that's email marketing, whether that's website-based marketing, digital marketing, whatever it may be, the digital aspect of marketing your brand becomes very important, and hence defining that brand becomes more fundamentally important in this whole process. Okay, so most of the times branding is being done from a perspective or a retrospective of how you can better market that socially. What opportunities do you have to brand your business before and after you've engaged with a customer? Of course, before, you have the website, you have your different social media presence, you have your visiting card, your website, I think I mentioned that, visiting cards, any stationery that you print, whether that's water bottles or pens, etc., right? All those marketing collaterals, those are fantastic examples of brand experiences. But let's say you start to engage, starting with that customer experiences, you still have that opportunity to provide that very consistent brand experience. And in fact, you should provide a consistent brand experience. And what opportunities did you have? Any customer-facing document that you represent, right? That could be retainer letters, it could be engagement letters, invoices, most importantly, receipts, even your envelopes, anything that you correspond with the customer. Is a great opportunity for you to continue to reflect and re-emphasize, if you will, for lack of a better term, the brand. Okay? Of course, there are certain documents that are very sensitive in terms of the legalities and the compliance aspect of it, so you really don't want to brand a reconciliation report. Doesn't make sense. Those are documents that are meant to be in a certain style, and the auditor is expected to be in a certain format. That's not a great example of a document that you may want to consider branding. Whereas any customer-facing document are great examples for you to keep in mind. And we spoke about the logo and the brand message. And when we talk about the message, I'd like to reemphasize the need for it to contain a certain relevant information that would be meaningful for the client to take. Okay? Something more specific, something in terms of, you could say we're HTA specialists or POA specialists. We will reduce your points, or we will reduce your traffic ticket issues. Or if it's a criminal matter, then there could be a slogan, or you could just make it as specific or non-specific. You could say, we are, as professional as it gets. But you don't want to give vague statements that really do not resonate the essence of your firm, right? So you would really want to consider, hash it out with your colleagues or individually as you start to discuss this with family and friends before you get started. Another important thing about branding, we talk about this often. One is to be able to talk about it early enough in your career when you're just getting started. It's always a great adrenaline rush when you're just getting started for all of this to happen in place. An important aspect about branding is that something that you may want to consider or reconsider every 2 to 3 years or every so often. And it's okay to rebrand unless you're appreciative of the consequence of that. So let's say you've tried a certain style of branding, and God forbid, for whatever reason, that style is not working. And that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur or a business owner, is that you can now try newer ways to improve upon that till you see success. So if that brand is not working, maybe something that you want to keep in mind, reconsider and rebrand. Maybe a different area of practice. Maybe you've just educated yourself in a totally different line that's really booming, such as immigration in Canada, right? It's a big topic today about immigrations. Okay, real estate, that's another thing. So brand is something both for established firms is something you may want to reconsider, as well as for newer firms that are just getting started. Practice management tools, we believe, or document management tools, whatever tools that you may be using today or considering to use today, are important toolkits that can help two aspects of your branding. One is to automate the outcome of those branding experiences. Okay, and the second is reduce the amount of manual errors, and maybe I'll add a third, is to ensure a certain consistency in delivering those documents. So a good example is if you have a centralized, I would say, a repository of your engagement letters and a way for you to always refresh the most recent branding that you have created for your firm, then a manual process has the risk of you capturing the wrong image or an outdated document or an outdated rate, outdated branding logo in a document. Whereas if you have the right tools that work through a single source of truth or a centralized repository of this information, then when you change it in one place, it automatically reflects the latest and greatest across all documents. That's a really good example of how you can let the tool automate that brand experience for you. Okay? So through this brand experience, again, consider to keep that in mind as you come up with creative ways to market your brand, and prepare yourself to market it both in the print and the digital media in today's day and context. And we believe a good BX translates to great referrals. And we want to consider the experience of this leading franchise, and everybody understands what this franchise is. It's that of Starbucks, and the brand that they went with was a green color, a white and green. You do not see a Starbucks logo with black and red. For example, uLaw's customers are predominantly black, red, and white, and we consciously do our best to go with that presence for most of our social presence. Okay. So Starbucks in this case has this color combination. They also have a logo, which is that of a mermaid. And I've heard there's a story behind that as well of how the CEO, the owner, came about doing that. So you're not going to see a Mickey Mouse or a Snoopy Dog or something like that come up with a Starbucks name on it. So very consistent, and consistent to the point where it's, of course, a franchise. And for the success of any franchise, you need that repeatability. And it's no different for you as a legal business to ensure repeatability by using the right tools and ensuring that you have the discipline of learning and implementing those tools. Bottom line, from a brand experience, simple brand, simple logo, and a tagline. Something that you resonate with, whether you visit a Starbucks in Canada or you visit a Starbucks down under in Australia. Okay? Then comes the customer experience. And this is where it becomes very grassroots, very pragmatic for legal businesses. So we spoke about how customer experience starts from that first phone call, that first touch point, or any engagement that you have. And it talks about that meeting, that communication. And what's important to keep in mind is if you are a sole practitioner, of course, the onus is on you to provide that consistent behavior. It's harder when you grow as a business and you have multiple individuals taking multiple responsibilities. You as the owner have now the added responsibility through training, through constant reinforcement of ensuring that the right tools are utilized and the right discipline is maintained so that that customer experience is consistent across all touch points, across all individuals providing those individual touch points or tools that are providing that, right? So you want to make sure that the person in the front desk has a warm welcome smile. He or she is going to be able to represent your firm really well, exactly the way that you would do it if you were sitting in that seat. So it goes for your co-worker, for others in the firm. Now, in terms of the correspondence, we spoke about how you have multiple documents that are part of that customer engagement. Let's take a retainer letter or an engagement letter, for example. Ensuring that you have the right tools to reflect the right information that's clear, concise, and customized for that customer is very important. We looked at that example, a very small example of ensuring that the right rates are plugged into an engagement letter so that that also translates into your legal accounting system so that it also translates into your invoices, right? Now, of course, there could be some standard clauses that are meant to be part of every document because we are dealing with legal sensitive information. So instead of having to type it in every time manually, you could also use these tools to automate the templatization, if you will, for lack of a better term, of these documents. And what does that mean to a customer experience? It means speed. It means consistent quality documents, right? Because they are not waiting for you to type that in right from scratch before you offer that. It's also a competitive edge that you're able to, as they say, hit the iron when it's hot. So if someone were to engage you and they say, can you kindly send me the retainer letter by 3 p.m. today? Being able to send that fast enough at 2 p.m. because you have the right tools to automate it goes a long way rather than having to spend the extra time manually doing this. Another great example of how tools such as the legal accounting practice management tools can help you is in the case of the very clear and self-explanatory invoice. Ensuring that invoices have the opportunity and the flexibility to offer both detailed information and shortened information based on the timing and the nature of that invoice is very important. Some customers may actually ask for a complete audit trail of every invoice touchpoint, the previous retainers provided, the top-ups, the disbursements, how many payments have they made if this is a retainer for a corporate client, right? Quick question, of course, for friends who joined us a bit late. Today's webinar is accredited for 1 hour CPD credits. And just for once, I'm going to go back in time to reiterate the name. I apologize to others. And it's called How Do You Ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX is High for Your Law Office. Okay, so that's the name of today's webinar. Okay. So we're talking about invoices. So ensuring that you can use the right tools to automate it so that it provides that customer experience, very important to keep in mind. Other legal documents that you may want to keep in mind, bill of costs, statement of activities. So a statement of activity, honestly, is a fantastic document that outlines right from that first touch point till the end closure date of that entire file. Every touch point in terms of money is involved, dockets provided, disbursements involved, etc. Right? So using the right tools and consciously building a toolkit to help you and your practice capture and produce documents in a timely manner is certainly going to help improve that customer experience. And a legal accounting software, again, we're talking about a legal business for legal professionals. So a legal accounting software that deals with trust general accounting seamlessly, of course, is going to provide you that extra added benefit of ensuring that there are no misunderstandings of billings for your customer, but also a sidekick opportunity is to ensure the compliance nature of your own business. So another customer experience is also to proudly state that you as a legal firm are compliant with the Law Society, and you're of course able to share that you are very much in line with the expectations of the Law Societies across all aspects of their compliance. Reassures that brand, reassures and provides that confidence in that customer experience. So let's take that same example of Starbucks. This is still that same mermaid in green and white in that cup, but it's now personalized, and it's a great customer experience to see your name on it with a definition of the specific drink that you're getting, right? It's personalized yet consistent. So again, try and, if possible, take that same essence of what we're talking today into your legal business. How do I provide that same brand? How do I provide a very personalized yet consistent, fast way of delivering those experiences? So if you go into Starbucks, of course, they have certain aspects of their coffees ready. But if you look at it, a lot of that toolkit is around how to make things faster, but yet at the same quality. Right? Because you've got, of course, it's a different nature of the beast, but you have multiple individuals walking in, and hence moving that chain is really important. Training is important, and if any given time that chain is broken, either due to lack of training or lack of the right resources, that you know that there's going to be complaints. And that experience of, even if you had a great brand, and even if you had amazing marketing, and the general word of mouth is not going to be great, right? Like how they say, one happy customer tells one unhappy customer tells 100. So that's the kind of analogy that you want to avoid. Now comes the user experience, and we spoke about this in a bit of detail, if you will. As I mentioned, it's truly a game changer, something for you to deeply consider if you're getting started or if you're just running a business, considering of these different options. We believe a productivity of your office is high when you have a very high user experience, because it can also be translated into an amazing end user experience. This is where you could provide a bit of a wow factor, right? It's like, wow, that was amazing. Yeah, I really expected the quality from a compliant legal firm in my province, but of course, I never expected that they would wow me with, or let's call this as a customer, I wouldn't want to say surprise, but a bit of an excitement, a wow factor, if you will. So what are the opportunities for you to provide the wow factors within a legal business? Of course, it all goes to the fundamentals of continuing that quality, continuing that consistency, and hence the right tools that can provide that experience. But let's take another example of a user experience that you could provide as a legal firm that hopefully will earn you a wow factor today. 5 years down the line, once it becomes a norm, we need to figure out other wow factors, right? Something that you're willing to provide and walk the extra mile that's not the norm today is a good example of a wow factor, right? A handwritten thank you, I guess, is a wow factor in today's day and context when everything is digital. But an example that I brought to today's webinar that we're starting to see provides a lot of value to our customers is an integrated payment system. Of course, through the evolution of the legal business, we've gone through payments from cash to checks to online in terms of Interact, e-checks, direct deposit, things of that nature. But if when you consider a legal business which does handle trust and general businesses, the ability for you to provide the opportunity for your customer to pay for a retainer, let's say, through a credit card, okay, is not only a timely aspect to your business for capturing their business, ensuring that it is a compliant acceptance of money into your trust account is also going to safeguard your compliance nature of your business. So let's consider the example of a retainer letter that the customer is really not in town, and they're like, can you send me the retainer letter so that I can pay for it? And of course, the method of payment that they prefer is a credit card. In the past, or even the recent aspects of time, you needed many tools to make it happen. But today, you have multiple institutions, financial institutions, other companies that are recognizing the legal industry as an industry to reckon with, something to invest in. They're seeing the legal business grow and the ability to serve this business. They're now starting to offer simple, easy means of you being able to accept that credit card payment, whether that's through Visa, MasterCard, American Express, which is, again, a value-added user experience. Because if you say, I only accept this particular card, then of course, then it's a bit of a, sighing moment for the customer. But if you do accept all those different credit cards at the same time, ensuring compliance, what does that mean? If someone were to pay you $1,000 in retainer, it's your responsibility to ensure that it's the exact $1,000 that gets deposited directly into your trust account, untouched. And of course, if there's a service fee, which there certainly is involved in using a machine or through the means of this credit card payment process, that service fee needs to be withdrawn out of your general account and has to leave your trust untouched. Because every transaction within the trust account needs to be documented, needs to be available, and mostly needs to be related to a customer experience. Whether that's customer paying you a retainer, you paying yourself, right? So today's technologies, we are able to provide practice management tools and legal accounting products such as uLaw are able to provide you that ease of and convenience of accepting payments that even accept retainers and follow a compliance channel. Of course, if you're not dealing with trust and if it's mostly general payments, it still helps to be able to integrate a simple link that allows your customers to pay for an invoice right from it. Is a fantastic experience that you can leave your customer with. Right? That's going to really enhance that user experience. Having voice over IP phones so that you're always connected. So if someone were to leave you a message, you're able to correspond back with them real fast. Ensuring that you have the right devices that allows you to, take emails right on your phone. That's become a norm, of course. But even today, those are things that you want to keep in mind as you provide that service excellence and find ways to give that wow experience. Okay? Because we believe a wow factor through that user experience probably leaves the most long-lasting footprint of the experience of working with your business in the mind of the customer. And just trying to reflect it back to the example that we've been using, it's that same branded experience, it's the same logo, same colors, it's got that personal touch to it. But now, I don't have to all the time walk into that store, order for it, and then wait in line, right? So what's the wow factor? What's the convenience? And you can see this happen today. Of course, when it got started, people were like, who the heck's going to phone in a coffee, right? Why would I even call somebody and let them know? Or how could I even use an app for this? I need my phone right now, right here, right? But then you're starting to see how the human brain works. So let's say you have a meeting around that area. You can now use the app to actually order a coffee around that area, pick it up before you enter that meeting around that area. So being able to buy or purchase that and order for that personalized latte online, whether that's through your phone app or otherwise, and be able to pick it up at that store through convenience, same brand, same customer, but now with a bit of a wow factor. Okay? And with ease of using it. So what if that Starbucks app didn't work? Well, likewise, you want to ensure you have the right tools, the right experience behind you so that things don't break. And finally, the product experience. And we spoke about this. You can rename this for your own purpose as the overall firm experience, again, from the perspective of the customer. Great brand, fantastic customer experience, and some wow factors here and there to kind of leave it a long-lasting impression. But now what? Would that motivate me, or are you as a firm providing that customer the opportunity to come back to you for something else? Or is this that a one-time thing? Is that a one-time business revenue for you? Is it a one-time relationship with the customer? Or was it not good enough that they would refer you to someone else? That's what the product experience quotient is about. So either you just provide that one particular service, which means that the entire product experience needs to be that fascinating that through the business brand, customer, user, and the overall experience of working with your firm, they're able to now refer you to another friend or colleague or relative who is in their particular situation. Hey, I had a POA issue. I went to this particular paralegal. He took care of it. She took care of it. I will highly recommend them. Do take their service. And here's a card. Here's the logo, and for them to start appreciating the brand. I was in dire strait when I had this criminal matter, and I went to this criminal lawyer, and she was fantastic, or he was fantastic. Here's their website. And they have an amazing form which you can fill out at your own time, and they get back to you. Or they have a little chat where you can talk to them in real time, where you can dial their phone number. They're available, maybe not 9 to 5, maybe 9 to 7, right? So that's what we're talking about, one aspect of that outcome of a fantastic product experience. But trying to be business savvy, if you as a legal business can offer or plan to offer multiple areas of practice and services across multiple aspects of legal businesses, then imagine a customer who's reached out to you for a specific area of practice with a outstanding product experience. What would their mindset be? Of course, they would recommend you to another relative. But not only that, if they got to know that you are also dealing with other areas of practice that may be pragmatic for them to keep in mind, they are certainly going to come back to you because now you have built the trust. You made it easy for them to work with you. There's a brand resonance. And of course, there was a fantastic customer experience added with the user aspect to it. Yeah, this particular legal firm, when I had that POA matter, they took care of it. And by the way, they have a fantastic real estate setup as well. So when I buy that condo, I'm going to reach out to the same law firm that I dealt with for that POA matter, or that legal firm that I dealt with. Or I had the POA matter, now I'm dealing with a small claim slip and fall issue or offense issue, right? I know who to call because I've built this trust with this legal professional. So as a business, are you making it easier for your customers through a fantastic experience come back to you for added businesses, added revenue? So how does practice management and legal accounting tools help here? because this is something that you would have to decide. Where these tools come in handy is that they are able to help you make these informed decisions using data points. So let's say you do start off your business with family and real estate. But if a legal accounting tool is going to tell you, or a practice management product, if it has the right tools, it's going to tell you which area of practice is doing really well. Or if you had 5 different areas of practice, you got small claims, HTA, family, real estate, criminal, then you really need to have the right data points to articulate which businesses is successful for you. And that's going to now tell you which practices and areas of practice that you should offer. The tools help you with the right data to tell you which areas of practice are functioning well, which areas of practice may actually cost you more money to run. Maybe there are certain practices that are very heavy in expenses. Maybe there are certain practices that needs a lot of your time, a lot of tasks, a lot of checklists, a lot of things to remember. Maybe it's not you. You're not that person who is that meticulous. Maybe you have left brain, right brain combination, right? We often speak about that as well. So really, tools such as that can really help you make informed decisions of positioning the right added businesses that you want your end customer to experience, having gone through an amazing product experience. Okay? Absolutely. So I think we just got a comment about the idea is to really optimize your client's experience, and that's fantastic, and that's exactly right. Because every minute spent by your customer needs to be optimized and really taken care of, right? So going back to our Starbucks example, it's that same brand. Whether you buy a hot coffee or a cold coffee, or a branded, any other thing that you buy at Starbucks, let's put it that way. So now you have, what is the area of practice? The area of practice is they offer hot coffees. The other area of practice is that they offer cold coffees like frappes and stuff like that. Some other drinks. Some of them could be seasonal, of course. That's different from legal business. But you could try it. You could do a seasonal area of practice. You could say, from this time to this time, we do have customers who do that. They would travel from place to place. They are a real mobile legal professional, and they would represent themselves in different cities or different areas. That's kind of how they decide to run their life. But having had a consistent experience, knowing that it's easy to order online or through the app, knowing that when I get to that coffee, it's going to be a custom label on my latte, I know I'm prepared to try out that frappe and recommend it to another customer. Right? So that's really the goal of that product experience, is to not only provide options, but options that make sense for your business. So in short, what have we tried to accomplish through today's webinar? And what are we trying to kindle in your mind as you consider these different experiences? We've considered 4 different experiences: the brand, the customer, the user, and finally the product or the firm experience. So we kindly, of course, encourage you to revisit your office branding, the training of your personnel, the tools that you currently use to automate business aspects, right from letters, documents, invoices. Are they embedded with the right branding? Do they automatically capture changes in numbers, etc., right? So practice management, legal accounting aspects of it allow you to make those informed decisions and writing, and of course having the right combination of tools allows you to provide a more optimized client experience, improved customer interactions, and enhance the overall experience of engaging with your law firm. Okay, so that's really the 4 important things that we want you to take away from today's webinar. Of course, we're not playing Menti today because we've got feedback that's slightly harder, so we're going to reconsider surveys. But yeah, we encourage you to visit our website. For existing customers, we're very proud and happy to share with you that for the 4th consecutive year, uLaw has been nominated for the Canadian Lawyers Reader's Choice Survey. And in your email that you received today, you have received a simple image where you can cast your vote, and you can vote for uLaw based on, again, your product experience with us. They do have a quick survey and ask you questions about, different areas of our business. We've been very fortunate, thanks to our community of users, that over the last 3 years we've always excelled and competed with the big boys. We do have a chance for you to win a gift card, $150 and $25, and we've been actually nominated in 5 categories this year, and we would greatly appreciate your help. And thank you so much for those who did vote. It's fast and simple, and we gratefully appreciate your help. And I'll wait if there are any specific questions before I can wrap up today's webinar. Okay, so we got a question by email about the experience of the payment gateway. I do have a few minutes left, so let me see if I can get through to this real quick. So I'm going to consider, I'm using uLaw, I'm using my fictitious legal professional Roger Moore. So let's say I pick a matter. What uLaw does is we do integrate with third-party payment gateways. Okay, so a prerequisite to ensure that this works is to ensure that you are connected with one of the preferred gateways that we work with. Of course, we're not married to any one specific vendor. We want to provide the best of breed experiences to our customers and have integrated, in fact, with 4 of the leading companies. Of course, we're continuing to add to that as well. But today we add with Pivotal, or otherwise called as New Way. We're connecting with Moneris, that I'm sure you're familiar with. We're connected with TD Canada Trust and a set of, and it doesn't matter who you bank with, you can still use any of these institutions. And one of our recent partners are Global Payments, a great company to work with as well. They do all offer individual rates. As a uLaw customer, they do have preferred rates. So of course, we would love for you to make that shopping easier. We're happy to make that introduction. But let's say you have connected with them. They would provide you with their own terminal ID and secret key that you can enter one time into uLaw. And let's say you currently have a $311 invoice that's pending. So let me answer your question with an example of generating an invoice for this customer and show you what that integrated looks like. So this is really the user experience, or what we hope to be a bit of a wow factor that you can provide. Okay, so I'm going to, if you look at these shortcuts that we have today, you can go ahead and generate that invoice for that $300. Of course, we always recommend a preview prior to doing it, but I'll skip it. I'm just going to go ahead and all right, so let me go ahead and generate that invoice. And this is, of course, a digital document that you can send in an email. You can just drag and drop it in the email. It has the right information, which is important. It has the history of all the dockets with taxes, without taxes, making it clear and precise. So your customer knows exactly what they're paying for. Any disbursement in this particular cycle, none of that, right? It talks about clearly the amount of money that's been spent on a retainer basis touching trust account. So they have a clear indication of that. Any previous client payments that they've already paid. And after having done that, there is a outstanding amount of $311.35. Of course, the old school way is sending this and waiting for a payment. Rather, you can, through this little link, through that user experience, if you will, you can actually allow the customer to be able to open it and pay for it using that credit card number, right, at their own leisure. And so making it easier for you. Of course, it's authorized, the unique reference is received. As a convenience to our customers, this would, of course, trigger an email as well. And you, as the legal professional, would also be notified as soon as that payment's been made. So hopefully that answered that question. Okay. One more question is about the trust compliance with that. So the question is does Law Society approve of this being a compliant way of accepting money into trust? Absolutely, as long as you're following the policies and the guidelines of the Law Society and you're able to ensure that the service fees are being withdrawn from the general account. So that's where I think these institutions that we connect with differ from, let's say, I would say a Square or someone like that, who are more tailored towards acceptance of general payments only. So you could still use Square to accept payments as long as they're not trust-related, because Square would take that service fee from that individual account, whichever account is being utilized to be deposited into. That's the same account Square would take the amount from. So if this answers the question, if that was one convenience, the other convenience is that you can accept that retainer letter right from your desk. So uLaw essentially acts as a gateway, if you will, to provide that same information. And you can collect this over phone, right? Or you can send this as a retainer letter, and again, just like that payment link, this would be a link that's sent out for a retainer top-up as well. So you can take that authorization, right? Provide that receipt then and there, and accept that. Okay. So if there aren't any more questions, again, happy if you can send us emails with your questions. If today was too short a time to think about it, do think it over. If there are any specific questions with regards to today's webinar, please do email us. If there are other specific questions with regards to a product with certain to your own experience, kindly do email support. And thank you everyone for joining me today. Happy Canada Day. Hope you enjoy a well-deserved long weekend. And thank you so much for being part of today's webinar. It is accredited for 1 hour of CPD credits. Do utilize it. And the title is right at the top. How do you ensure that the BX, CX, UX, and PX is high for your law office. Thanks with gratitude. Appreciate your presence, and we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Thank you.